The White House is rumored to be opening the door for Ukraine to use long-range weapon systems to hit targets deep inside Russian territory. Just what will this mean for the war? And more importantly, why should we need to dismiss any claims by Putin that this is a dangerous escalation? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this is really interesting. It is a major shift in U.S. policy, right? With U.S. President Joe Biden stating yesterday, September 10th, I think this video will come out maybe tomorrow, then the president that his administration is working on lifting restrictions on Ukraine's ability to use U.S.-provided weapons to strike, again, what they're calling military objects within Russia. And this is, of course, a reference to the ATACMS missile, something that the UK has actually said very explicitly that they are in favor of allowing Ukraine to use their long-range weapons, but unfortunately, in the interest of keeping a united front, the US has said not yet. But sounds like those policies are changing and that ATACMS are soon going to be on the menu for Ukrainian troops. But before we talk about what those ATACMS are going to do exactly, I wanted to mention that you know that Russia has bought and paid for a lot of influencers, and I am not on their list. Obviously, I'm raising money for Ukrainian forces, but in order to stay independent, I depend on you guys. And you can help keep me independent on combatvetnews.com. This is my version of Patreon, where we have a series of tiers. Specialist tier gets you access to twice a week. I do uncensored combat videos. We do a deep dive analysis. Actually, on Tuesday, we just took a look at GoPro footage of a Russian unit coming under FPV drone attack. It is some absolutely wild stuff and gives us an insight into how drones have made the battlefield, frankly, pretty terrifying. We also have a weekly Q&A for Lieutenant tier and above, and Colonel tier gets you all of it, plus the by name shoutouts. So check the link in the description. Get your Combat Vet News subscription today. Okay, so let's talk about where this can work. Now, I looked up, ATACMS have about a 300-kilometer range. So if you are talking about launching them from, let's say, inside of Kursk Oblast, you're talking about a lot of distance. You could see here, right there, is the distance from, again, Kursk Oblast. You're looking at about halfway to Moscow. Lipetsk, Bryansk. You could see they'll, into Tula, really almost into the Moscow suburbs. So a real danger is going to be posed by this. Actually, let's see. If Ukraine was to actually shoot from the other side of the border, as close as they can possibly get to Moscow, yeah, they're almost there, man. Ooh, from this Kaluga. Again, just maybe an hour's drive from Moscow is where they'll be able to hit. Obviously, Russia in full cope mode in response to this, but they kind of have it coming, right? You could also see that, again, Ukrainian forces going to be able to hit deep into Russia, and most importantly, they're also going to be able to hit way into Crimea, right? Easily. Let's reset this here. I got everything all screwed up. So here is the furthest edge of Crimea. You could see 320 kilometers. So they will be just inside a range where they could, with a little bit of standoff from Russian artillery, they'll be able to hit all the way everything in Crimea, right? So this is, and ATACMS are nice. They're a ballistic missile system. They're a lot harder to interdict because that warhead comes in fast and furious, right? Very hard to both detect, but very hard to intercept. It moves very quickly. But I wanted to really talk about the why. And this is, I think, one of the most important stories, right? And it's to emphasize the fact that when you have someone like Putin, he loves to claim escalation, and pro-Russian shills within the American sort of information sphere are going to say, this is a dangerous escalation. They've been saying dangerous escalation for literally 2 straight years. Nothing has escalated this war beyond the borders of Ukraine. If anything, the only thing that escalated the war beyond the borders of Ukraine is the Ukrainian incursion into Russia. So a long way from those dangerous escalations. But the person who's doing the most escalation is Russia themselves. So Iran, a notorious U.S. adversary, has been busted sending missiles to Russia for use against Ukraine. These are short-range ballistic missiles, but remember, short-range ballistic missiles are very long range, right? It is a technical term. A short-range ballistic missile has a range of it only means it's under 1,000 kilometers in range. Now, the actual missiles they've sent are around 150, 300. Let's see if we can find them here. It's in alphabetical order, and it's not Iran. Yeah, there you go. So Fatah 110s, again, 300 kilometers, almost exactly the analog to the ATACMS missile, right? So you can see that, again, you're looking at a dynamic where the U.S. has no choice. They have to say, listen, Russia, if you want to play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. You've chosen to go to one of the U.S.'s adversaries, and then you can't sit there and claim the victim when you suddenly realize that the U.S. is angry with you for, again, getting highly sophisticated, dangerous weapon systems from a known U.S. adversary. So, again, they said they're Fatah 360 close-range ballistic missile. Okay, some of them are actually as little as 120 kilometers, but again, these are comparatively long-range by the standards of existing weapons systems. Again, because Russia is in Ukraine, it's going to give them a way deeper firing pattern. You can see 120 kilometers basically gives them all the way to Dnipro. And again, if they were to fire from inside even from within Volchansk, their occupied region, they'll be comfortably able to bombard Kharkiv. They may even prove able to hit Kiev. Not quite, actually. They're still actually, no. They might be able to hit Kiev from right here. Yep, they sure can, guys. So you see kind of the constraint here that Ukrainians are going to be under. And the U.S., again, this is really, really antagonizing, and Putin absolutely deserves, well, whatever response the U.S. chooses here. Again, this is something that is just, it's just classic to have Russia, again, play the victim, frame the U.S. as a dangerous escalator, while Russia goes and actually escalates the conflict so brazenly. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Thank you so much to the Cardinal tier members like Bill Collier, Robert Colburn, Guyers Marning, Eugenia Cuesta, Chris Gorsuch, Franzicarius, Ale90, and Petya Teruru, as well as all of our Lieutenant tier members. I really couldn't do this without you guys. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.